All right, Panther fans, we're here for the Which Coaches Show with Mike Fuller on a rainy Labor Day. We want to thank Which for sponsoring the show and take some time here to talk about Duncanville, a little time to cover Geyer and talk about the game this coming Thursday. Give us your quick thoughts on Duncanville.
You know, obviously the result wasn't what we wanted. We've got a brand new team from last year. We've got 3 guys that really had any meaningful playing time last year on defense. We've got 3 on offense with some of the injuries that we have right now. So I thought overall they handled things well. From the offensive standpoint, we got more yards and scored more points than we've ever scored against Duncanville, who's always been good. We've just been able to come out on top the last few times. You know, defensively we did some good things at times. But what we didn't do was handle adversity very well. And I think they've done it when they were on the JV. We've had a lot of success over the years, but it's a little bit different on Friday night, especially when there's not a lot of guys who've been out there. There's not really a place to look to for everybody. So it was some communication things and just some things about not being sure about what our assignment was or knowing it, but having the real confidence to go and do it and trust your teammates to do their job. Issues that should be settled the second time we step out there.
Any surprises? Obviously going with a certain expectation. Anything that we saw from ourselves or Duncanville that we weren't expecting, or is it just somewhat the inexperience you talked about?
Yeah, there weren't any surprises scheme-wise. They did what we thought they were going to do, and I'm pretty sure we did what they thought we were going to do. Some feedback that I've gotten, I think some of the people that came to the stadium weren't expecting our offense to execute like they did. And the thing that hurt us is the turnovers. We had a turnover on a kick return, and then we had 2 fumbles and an interception. We eliminate those, and we just realize that the ball is the most important thing in the game of football. And when we're on defense, you look at what happens when we get the turnovers. Jason Williams made a great play on a tip ball, gets an interception. Nose guard gets an interception, has a good return, score a touchdown right after that. Yeah. We cause a fumble later. Jared Valley picks it up, scoops and scores. Those are good things. So when we're on defense, we need to get the ball. When we're on offense, we need to keep the ball. But there were some kids that really stepped up and did a good job, and then some guys that on Saturday just talking to them and kind of debriefing, they felt they were a little bit overwhelmed. It just got fast for them, and that comes with experience. It's not an easy game, especially against an athletic team, first time out there. So we expect to fix some of those things for this next week.
Yeah, probably one of the best Duncanville teams we've seen, at least in recent years since I've been watching them, and certainly they were strong throughout.
Right.
How about, as we usually do, as everybody does early on, heat, cramping, and those issues? It was hot. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hot, I think, again Thursday. Is there anything unusual there? Anything we can do from a hydration? I mean, how much did that impact us Friday night?
Well, it was impactful to us, but the funny thing, it didn't affect any of our offensive players. It was mainly just defensive guys, and just kind of the nature of how we practice. I think our offensive guys are a little bit better conditioned, with a handful of exceptions. We have Jacob worked extremely hard all summer and ran a ton. He's a basketball player. He's one defensive guy who never really got tired, and he played a lot of offense. So it wasn't just a defensive deal, but offensively we get more reps at practice. So we're adjusting our conditioning level for this week. I think we also talked to some of the guys about, we had mentioned this, but they always want to test it. The energy drinks and any kind of thing that you might buy at GNC that tells you it'll give you more energy. Those are bad things to mess with. So we just made sure that I don't know for a fact of how many guys did anything like that, but we talked about that and making sure we're just eating right, hydrating ourselves the right way, and just taking care of it from the standpoint of getting in better shape. Now, having said that, the best way to get in shape for a football game is to play a football game. We've got one under our belt, so right. I think that'll be better for next week too.
How about health going into Thursday, short week, Thursday night game? Any issues you see there?
Well, we did. Jason Williams kind of got a high ankle sprain. He probably won't play this week. Maybe out for a little while, but he'll be back. Nothing major. The rest of the injuries were just the normal bumps and bruises and scrapes and things that you get in a football game.
Good. So Denton Geyer, for Panther fans, 7 o'clock kickoff, just so everybody doesn't show up at 7 expecting a 7:30 kickoff after a pretty good drive. What's your thoughts on them? I think they lost their first game, and a little bit unusual for them as well. And how do you feel about going into a Thursday night with Denton Geyer?
Well, we feel we feel good about getting back on the field. Usually when you don't have the kind of result you want, you can't wait to get back out there. And so I'm glad it's a Thursday night. I do want to mention that Denton Geyer is going through a real tragedy. I know most people saw it on the news, but our hearts and our prayers go out to them. I just can't imagine going through that as a coaching staff and as teammates and as a community. But we're going to show as much support as we can for them and prepare and make sure that our guys know that we don't play on the same team, but we've got a lot in common with that young man because we're football players and he is too. So that's awful. Their team, last year they lost to Cedar Hill to open the season. They lost to us in the second game and then never lost again. Right. And they're 4A state champs. So we're hoping they want to follow that same formula that worked so well for them last year. But they are very good. They're a really good football team. I think they had a great quarterback last year, and he's the same guy, just bigger and stronger and faster. Yeah, a lot of returners, and they competed well against Cedar Hill, who's a really good team too.
Great. All right, Panther fans. So Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Denton Geyer. Check the Moby site for directions if you're confused as to where their stadium is at. It's out there. And again, we want to thank Which for sponsoring the Coaches Show. Get out there, support them over here near Target, and check back with us next week for a follow-up. Thanks, Coach.